The smell of fish used to remind me of long summer days by the coast, when my uncle would bring home fresh trout wrapped in newspaper. Back then, I didn't think much about healthy fats or omega whatevers. I just knew it tasted good with some lemon and a little butter. But now, at 68, I see food in a different light, especially with type 2 diabetes in the picture. That sweet tea I used to gulp down, swapped it for water with lime. And the greasy fried fish we used to love? Well, let's just say my heart had a talk with me. What surprised me most was that some seafood I used to avoid, thinking it was too rich, too salty, or just plain expensive, turned out to be some of the best allies for my blood sugar and my heart. Ain't that something? Turns out the right seafood can do more than just taste good. It can help us stay steady, clear-headed, and even ease some of those achy joints that come with age. But not all seafood is created equal. And if you're managing diabetes, knowing which ones to eat and how to cook them makes all the difference. If this resonates with you, go ahead and like this video, share it with someone you care about, and check the description for a natural drink that helped lower my blood sugar while I slept. Might just work for you too. Number 7. Salmon. The first time I truly appreciated salmon was during a church potluck in Tennessee. Miss Carol, who's in her 70s and full of energy, brought this grilled salmon with lemon and dill. I almost didn't try it. Looked too fancy for my taste. But one bite and I was hooked. It was tender, rich, and didn't leave that heavy feeling fried food does. Turns out, she'd been eating it twice a week ever since her doctor told her she was pre-diabetic. That got my attention. These days, I keep salmon in my weekly routine. I like to bake it with olive oil, garlic, and a splash of lemon. No breading, no sugar glazes. Just the good stuff. I notice that when I eat it for dinner, especially with small sweet potato or steamed greens, I don't get that foggy head or jittery legs the next morning. My blood sugar readings seem more even, and I don't wake up with that dry mouth anymore. Small blessings, but I thank God for each one. Salmon's got something called omega-3s, which I like to think of as the grease that keeps the engine running smooth. It's not a miracle cure, but for folks like us managing blood sugar and keeping an eye on the OL ticker, it's a solid companion at the dinner table. I read somewhere that eating it twice a week can lower the risk of stroke and heart issues. Honestly, I don't need a study. I just feel better when I eat it. A friend of mine grills his salmon outdoors, wrapped in foil with a slice of orange and a little rosemary. Says it reminds him of his mom's cooking from Mississippi. I like mine simpler, but the beauty is, it's hard to mess up as long as you stay away from the sugar glazes or frying pans. You're doing your body a favor. Salmon's forgiving, quick to cook, and easy on the stomach. Funny how something I used to think was just for health nuts became a regular guest on my plate. I thank the Lord I gave it a second chance, because since then my after-dinner numbers look steadier, and honestly, I feel steadier too. Number 6. Sardines. The first time I opened a can of sardines, the smell hit me like a memory from my granddad's tackle box. He used to keep them for bait, but also ate them right out of the tin with crackers and hot sauce. Back then, I couldn't imagine eating something so strong. But now, I keep a few cans in the pantry at all times. They're cheap, don't spoil, and surprisingly good for a fellow trying to keep his sugar down and bone strong. It took me a while to get used to the taste. I won't lie, but when I started mixing sardines with chopped tomatoes, a little olive oil, and laying it over toast or salad greens, it grew on me fast. I read that they've got calcium and vitamin D, which is rare in foods that come in a can. At my age, I'll take all the help I can get to keep this old frame standing tall. No pills, just real food that works. Sardines are also loaded with those same omega-3 fats folks always talk about, but they don't cost nearly as much as salmon. For people on a fixed income or trying to stretch their grocery budget, that's a blessing. One little can hold a lot of value. And when I eat them for lunch, I don't get that sleepy, sluggish feeling in the afternoon. Just feel light and steady. Some folks turn their noses up at sardines, but to me, they're kind of like the underdog of the seafood world. Not flashy, not trendy, but they do the job right. Add some chopped onions, lemon juice, maybe even a sprinkle of paprika if you're feeling bold. And you've got yourself a diabetes-friendly meal that actually fills you up If I had kept judging sardines by their smell alone, I might have missed out on one of the best little helpers in my kitchen. Now, when I crack open a can, I smile and thank God for simple things that do more good than they let on. Number 5, cod. If comfort had a flavor, for me, it'd be a flaky piece of baked cod with a squeeze of lemon on top. Cod was always a safe fish in our house. Mild, easy to cook, and never made the kitchen smell too strong. My wife used to make it on Fridays with peas and mashed sweet potato. She'd say, "It's simple, but it's clean." I didn't understand then what she meant by clean, but I sure do now. These days, cod has become one of my go-to dinners when I want something light that won't mess with my blood sugar. It's low in fat, low in calories, and high in protein. I don't feel bloated or heavy afterward, and my glucose numbers tend to stay calm. I like wrapping it in foil with some bell peppers, a bit of olive oil, and throwing it in the oven for 20 minutes. No mess, no fuss. You wouldn't think a fish this mild could have omega-3s, but it does, just enough to support heart health without being overpowering in taste. And for someone like me, who's always been more of a meat and potatoes man, cod feels familiar. It doesn't announce itself on the plate like salmon or sardines. It just shows up, does its job, and lets the side shine. My grandson once asked why I eat so much plain white fish. I told him, because it keeps me out of trouble. With cod, I know I'm not sneaking in hidden sugars or extra carbs. Plus, it works great in tacos, soups, or just with a squeeze of mustard and a salad. Versatile, dependable, kind of like a good neighbor. I used to overlook cod, thinking it was too bland to matter, but now I see it as quiet strength on my plate. Just like how some people speak softly but carry deep wisdom, cod supports my health without needing attention. That's something I've come to respect. Number 4, tilapia. Funny how tilapia became a regular guest at our table. Back in the day, I'd never even heard of it. Wasn't something folks in Kentucky talked about. But a few years ago, a neighbor dropped off a bag of frozen fillets after church food drive, and I figured, why not? I pan-cooked it with some onions and peppers, and to my surprise, it tasted just fine, mild, tender, and didn't fight with the seasoning. One thing I love about tilapia is how fast it cooks. Some nights, I don't have the energy to fuss around the stove, especially when my knees start singing after a long walk. Tilapia goes from freezer to plate in under 20 minutes, and it pairs well with anything. Quinoa, veggies, even a spoonful of black beans. It's like the white t-shirt of seafood. Goes with everything, never complains. Nutritionally, it's no slouch either. High in protein and low in fat. It keeps me feeling full without spiking my blood sugar. I don't get that dizzy dip 2 hours after dinner, like I used to with pasta or white bread meals. And because it's low in saturated fat, my cholesterol has been behaving better too. My doc noticed, and I told her, thank the Lord and the tilapia. Sometimes I jazz it up with tomato sauce and Italian herbs, like I'm in some old cafe on the coast of Sicily. Other times I just add lemon, a pinch of salt, and let the flavor of the fish do its thing. My daughter laughs because it's the only fish her picky twins will eat without complaint. That's saying something. I used to think healthy food had to be bland or boring, but tilapia proved me wrong. It's simple, honest, and always shows up when I need a no-nonsense dinner that treats my blood sugar kindly. Grateful I didn't overlook it. Number 3, trout. The sound of a creek still brings back memories of fishing trips with my brother in the Smoky Mountains. We'd get up before sunrise, thermos full of coffee, and hope to catch a rainbow trout or two. Back then, it was just about fun and fresh air. We'd fry 'em right there on the bank with butter and cornmeal. These days, I skip the frying, but the love for trout stuck with me. Trout has that gentle, buttery texture that makes it feel special without being heavy. I bake it with a splash of lemon and fresh dill, and it flakes apart beautifully. It's one of those fish that doesn't fight back on your plate or in your body. I noticed when I swapped out red meat for trout once or twice a week, my morning glucose numbers got more consistent. That's worth more than gold at our age. What makes trout so good for folks like us is the natural fat it carries. Not the bad kind that clogs things up, but the kind that keeps your heart ticking smooth and your memory a little clearer. I read that fatty fish like trout can even lower inflammation. All I know is when I eat it, I don't feel swollen or stiff the next morning. That's enough proof for me. It's also a local favorite in some parts of the South. If you can find someone who knows how to catch and clean it right, it's like getting a blessing straight from a river. But even store-bought fillets work just fine. I cook mine in foil with a slice of orange, some rosemary, and just a pinch of sea salt. Makes the kitchen smell like Sunday lunch. Every bite takes me back to simpler times, but it also helps me stay steady now. I thank God for memories, and for a fish that brings both joy and health in one humble fillet. Number 2, shrimp. Shrimp always felt like a treat when I was younger. My uncle called it Sunday seafood because we only had it on special occasions, usually fried piled high, with hush puppies on the side. We didn't know then what cholesterol was, and we sure weren't thinking about blood sugar. But time has a way of teaching you, especially when you start pricking your finger every morning. Now I enjoy shrimp in a different way, grilled or sautéed in olive oil with garlic and green onions. It's quick, clean, and doesn't weigh me down. One thing I like is that shrimp cooks in minutes, so I'm less tempted to snack while waiting. When I have it with a bowl of veggies or some quinoa, I stay full without the crash. And I've noticed something else. It helps with portion control. A handful of shrimp feels satisfying without being too much. Some folks worry about cholesterol, and I used to as well. But I learned that shrimp, despite its reputation, can actually support heart health when cooked right and eaten with balance. Studies say it may even improve lipid levels over time. I'm no scientist, but I know I breathe easier and sleep better on the nights I have shrimp instead of heavy meats. What I really love is how versatile it is. Sometimes I throw shrimp into a stir-fry with cabbage and carrots. Other days, I mix it cold into a salad with avocado and lemon juice. My grandson thinks it's fancy. I just think it's smart eating. And the best part? I don't feel sluggish after. My body seems to thank me in quiet ways. For something that used to be a guilty pleasure, shrimp sure turned into a steady ally. These days, it's less about indulgence and more about living well, and I thank the Lord for that shift. Number 1, shellfish and canned seafood. Cracking open crab legs always felt like a celebration. My daughter used to bring home a few on her birthday, and we'd sit around a table, laughing, making a mess, dipping pieces in butter like it was gold. These days, I skip the butter, but every now and then I'll treat myself to some crab or even a bit of lobster, just enough to feel special without going overboard. The beauty of shellfish is that you work for the meat, which means you slow down and eat less. That's been a blessing for portion control. Lobster, crab, even a few bay scallops, when paired with roasted veggies or tossed into a salad, they make a meal feel like a gift. And they're low in fat and packed with protein, which helps my blood sugar stay level instead of bouncing like a rubber ball. Now, I'll be honest, fresh seafood ain't always in the budget. That's why I keep a few cans of tuna and salmon in the pantry. Shelf-stable, affordable, and ready when I don't feel like cooking. I like to mix a can with a little avocado, lemon pepper, and a touch of mustard, then spread it on whole wheat toast. It's a meal that sticks to your ribs without spiking your sugar. Some folks turn up their noses at canned fish, but I see it like this. God gave us brains and options. And when fresh isn't available, smart choices like these keep us steady. Just be sure to grab the kind packed in water, not oil, and check the salt if you're watching your pressure too. Between the fancy shellfish and the humble can, I've learned there's room for both in a healthy life. What matters most isn't the price. It's how it makes you feel. And when I eat this way, I feel stronger, clearer, and grateful I'm still around to enjoy it all.